Tonight on CTV News at 6. Northern Ontario wildfire response is top of mind.
Accountability measures are implemented without delay. A clear plan is developed to address deficiencies.
First Nation leaders hold a press conference saying there were several failures and close calls. Plus, Canadians react to this week's tariff threat.
I spoke with President Trump earlier this morning. We agreed to intensify negotiations in the coming weeks.
The federal government and U.S. officials weigh in on this latest hit. And North Bay is one step closer to bringing a water obstacle course to Lake Nipissing.
CTV News at 6 with Marina Moore and Tony Rima with weather.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. The impacts of the devastating wildfires in northwestern Ontario are beginning to come to light today. First Nations leaders are speaking out, sharing their experiences and frustrations.
I visited our homelands yesterday, and during a community meeting this morning, I confirmed that there's nothing left but just ashes. My community was devastated by a forest fire that overtook the homes with great speed and heat. My members barely escaped with the clothes on their backs.
Chiefs by the wildfires in northwestern Ontario are calling for an inquiry and an independent review into the emergency response to the fires. At a press conference held online and in Thunder Bay, chiefs called out the Premier and the Prime Minister, saying both levels of government have and are dragging their feet in supporting their communities.
We wanted to hold this press conference today to counter some of the narrative that Ontario is promoting out there, that they are in regular contact with our leadership. They are not. They were here on Saturday. Premier Doug Ford, some ministers were here as well, and they didn't even bother to reach out to any First Nation leader. The chiefs believe that the Premier has an opportunity to demonstrate leadership by ensuring that an independent investigation is initiated immediately. Accountability measures are implemented without delay. A clear plan is developed to address deficiencies. If an investigation identifies at the director or the assistant deputy minister level, appropriate leadership changes should occur promptly.
CTV News reached out to the Premier's office today but did not hear back. U.S. President Donald Trump announced new 50% tariffs yesterday on Canadian products ranging from alcohol to hockey sticks. CTV's Judy Trin breaks down what's being taxed.
A source close to the government tells CTV News the Prime Minister was caught off guard by the announcement of new 50% tariffs.
I spoke with President Trump earlier this morning. We agreed to intensify negotiations in the coming weeks.
The tariffs will impact more than 500 additional products, from hockey sticks to wine to cement. That's about 5% or $28 billion worth of Canadian exports.
Only response to the way they've treated our farmers and our people. Canada's been very, very tough on us over the years, for many years, and no other president's done anything about it. I mean, in all fairness to them, they need us to survive.
The opposition leader says the new duties are unjustified and wrong, and is calling for all parties to work together to prevent them from happening. The Carney government has already made several concessions. It's splitting revenues on the Gordie Howe Bridge before it recoups the cost of building it. The Digital Services Tax has been scrapped, and the Online Streaming Act rolled back. But the Trump administration says irritants like the provincial alcohol ban and supply management in the dairy sector remain.
Things that do not fundamentally commit to resolve these issues, maybe just talk about them some more. And for us, we want them fixed.
Carney wants debilitating tariffs on steel, aluminum, and autos removed, and CUSMA preserved, but says putting U.S. liquor back on shelves will be up to the provinces.
The decision to change that, first and foremost, will be taken by the provinces themselves, each individually, and should only be taken, in my judgment, as part of an overall agreement.
Carney did not rule out retaliatory action, which a former Trudeau policy advisor says could be effective.
There are approximately 500 products that they are applying tariffs to from Canada, none of which are oil, none of which are critical minerals, the things that they know that if the costs of astronomically rise, that it will drastically affect their industry.
The Carney government will have less than a month to negotiate its way out of these new U.S. tariffs. They're set to take effect August 19th. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
And one of the key reasons the Trump administration has cited for the new 50% tariffs was the pulling of U.S. alcohol more than a year ago. Both the Kentucky bourbon and California wine industries have been hit hard by the sudden drop in demand from Canada. In the Sioux, people told us they don't want American alcohol back on the shelves.
No.
No, I would not. No.
Why is that?
I wouldn't want to give to Donald that advantage or that
Satisfaction.
Yeah. He's a big
Bully.
orange bully. I've had enough.
I would never buy it because Trump doesn't have any respect for us Canadians. So why give him any respect by giving our money?
No, I wouldn't. I agree totally with Doug Ford advocating for it to stay off the shelf.
I'm not really much of a drinker, but I'm pretty sure other people in the city, they probably would. I think they would, to be honest.
I'm sure there would be some that I would buy just because I'd want to try it, if anything. But in general, I probably wouldn't. Just overall, I don't really see a point in it when there's stuff that's already there that I like as is.
I don't feel like we need to support the U.S. because they don't support us or basically anybody else.
Meanwhile, Sudbury MP Vivienne Lapointe is sharing her thoughts on the new tariffs and the impact they may have on Sudbury.
In terms of the specific impact here in Sudbury, I continue to communicate and work very closely with our local companies that are impacted by this and finding some mechanisms in order to help them.
Lapointe says the federal government has increased the Strategic Relief Fund to help companies impacted by tariffs. Premiers from across Canada are in Prince Edward Island today for their annual summer meeting. Talk there has also turned to Trump's latest tariff threat. As mentioned, one of the sticking points with the U.S. is the push to have American alcohol back on the shelves in Canada. BC Premier David Eby said earlier today, quote, "There's no chance in hell that's happening in British Columbia." He and Ontario Premier Doug Ford both saying today, enough is enough.
The one way to embolden a bully is to capitulate, and I don't think we should embolden Mr. Trump, who clearly is a bully.
If these talks fail in 29 days, we need to hit him back as hard as we can. I'm tired of the bully trying to take our lunch money all the time. We always seem to be on our back heels. We need to be on the offense, not constantly on the defense with President Trump. We need to stand up to the bully, and we need to hit him tariff to tariff, all the way across the board. And that's my message to the Prime Minister. We need a plan moving forward.
And of course, tariffs and wildfires are sure to be key topics as the premiers meet, as a virtual meeting between the premiers and Prime Minister Mark Carney was scheduled, along with a meeting with Indigenous leaders. Time now for our first check on weather. It's on and off out there today when it comes to rain and sunshine. So are the clouds moving out. Here's CTV's Amanda Hicks filling in for Tony Rima.
Thanks for that, Marina. It's definitely been a little bit of this and a little bit of that out there today. We definitely, even just moments ago here in Sudbury, here at the station, we saw some rain, bit of a torrential downpour hit, and we could hear it from hitting the ceiling there. So, yep, there's still rain on the way depending on where you are, but there will be lots of blue skies on the way for tomorrow. With that comes a temperature shift as well. It's going to get a little bit cooler out there tomorrow, but we've got sunshine on the way as well. I'll have those details coming up a bit later on, but for now, Marina, back to you.
Don't you just love that sound of the rain, though? I sure do. Still to come here on CTV News at 6. A funding boost for a group that specializes in industrial off-road vehicles in Cambrian College. Plus, is it a good time to buy or sell a house? We take a look at the Northern stats coming up.
See it happen. Send it to CTV News. Text 10400. from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
For the past 2 years, Rough Diamond has been working with Cambrian College on a new addition to their amphibious fat truck. And today, MP Vivian Lapointe announced funding to continue their efforts. CTV's Madison Merrier tells us more.
It gives me great pleasure to announce $150,000 in funding to Cambrian College.
Rough Diamond and Cambrian College showed off the Fat Truck's newest addition, a platform that can mechanically raise off the vehicle for rough terrain drop-offs.
In a very short period of time, we have the demountable platform here. So what it does is it allows the Fat Truck, which is a highly capable vehicle, to get from A to B. But once it gets to B, if you have to offload heavy equipment.
This took about 2 years from the Darrell sticky note idea to where we are today. And then this funding is to announce a second phase of this, which is refining the prototype.
While the group wants to make the design lighter and more efficient, they also hope to create an additional toboggan-like style in Sudbury with the help of Cambrian students again.
When you see it at the very end, you almost forget all the struggles you put into it and just are so proud of what came out of it.
We've talked a lot about dual-use technology, and today was a perfect example of what that is and is a very tangible example of how that can work here in Sudbury.
While more work will be going on with additional designs, Adam says the Fat Truck is a deployable asset that as of last night is being staged for wildland firefighting efforts.
We look at sometimes when it's too smoky for the helicopters to fly in or fly out in a situation where they have to get firefighters out of a dangerous situation. The Fat Truck supplements that overall main effort where we can go in with a lot of people, but we can also bring supplies and consumables that they would need at a certain spot on the ground. And if required, the Fat Truck can be an emergency evacuation vehicle because it's amphibious.
Adam says beyond wildfire help, he hopes to see the Fat Truck and platform used in mining operations, military uses, and other off-grid areas where crane and helicopter use aren't feasible. Madison Merrier, CTV News, Sudbury.
Hearst Power says a lightning strike was behind an historic outage in the community over the weekend. We're told lightning struck electrical infrastructure on Gilles Street, causing catastrophic damage in the LaCour Trailer Park area Friday night. It required the complete replacement and reconstruction of critical equipment before service could be restored. Officials say this led to the longest sustained customer power outage documented in Hearst in more than 35 years. It was 64 hours in total. An ATV rollover last night in Timmins has resulted in charges and a license suspension. Police were called to Grundy Avenue where one ATV had rolled over, injuring the driver. The driver was taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The police investigation led to charges against 2 other ATV drivers who were with the victim. One individual was charged with failure to comply with a demand, and the third driver had their license suspended after registering 50 milligrams of alcohol. Summer is a popular time for home sales, and several communities in the Northeast are seeing an increase in demand compared to this time last year. We get the details from CTV's Angela Gemmel.
When it comes to real estate, it's all about location, location, location. The same could be said for trends in home sales, both across the country and in the Northeast.
Timmins and Sudbury, really strong markets right now, very strong levels of demand relative to supply. So they're actually both in a seller's market.
When the Canadian Real Estate Association looked at stats for the month of June, it says they show an increase in home sales for both Sudbury and Timmins, while the other 2 major northeastern Ontario cities were more even.
In Sault Ste. Marie, they've got inventories that are trending a little above average, but their market, I would say, is in balanced territory. And in North Bay, because of the strength that they're seeing right now on the new listings side, even though it's in balanced territory, it's actually shifting down closer towards buyer's territory, just because of how many listings have been coming on the market.
Suzanne Othmer has been selling real estate in the Timmins and Cochrane area for more than 30 years. She says lately when homes come on the market listed between $125,000 to $250,000, they're snapped up quickly.
We do have a lack of inventory, so it is definitely a seller's market. And the reason too, what doesn't help is we are finding that boomers are staying in their homes longer due to a lack of really nice condos.
The Canadian Real Estate Association is predicting a slight decline of 1.4% in home sales across the country for the remainder of the year compared to 2025. For those thinking about dipping their toes into the real estate waters, Othmer has some advice.
Because it is definitely a seller's market, now's a good time to sell your home to get the best value. And if you're buying, you can't go wrong with buying real estate.
The CRE says for homes priced across the Northeast, the average ranges from between a little over $500,000 for Sudbury to $339,000 for Timmins, which is a new record high for their average. The average price across the country for homes is $686,000. Angela Gamble, CTV News, Sudbury.
Cats and dogs rescued from Ontario communities impacted by northern wildfires are being brought to foster homes in southern Ontario. CTV's Alexandra Hullock has more on those who are caring for those pets.
Hi, babies! For this brother-sister dog duo, the road to safety was a long one. Ross and S'mores arrived in Guelph Saturday from a reserve in northern Ontario. Their community, one of dozens devastated by wildfires, forcing families to flee and in some cases leave their four-legged friends behind.
About 21 or 20 rescues across southern Ontario. Took in 112 animals in total.
Safe Paws Animal Rescue is part of a network of organizations giving cats and dogs from the north a second leash on life.
It really ranges what state they're in. We're expecting pregnant dogs, moms with puppies, young puppies, teenager puppies, adult seniors.
Part of the rescue mission is to offer temporary reprieve, placing the pets with foster families until it's safe to return home.
There's the other branch of it where there's the animals that are being officially fully surrendered by their families for various reasons, as well as the stray animals.
Vet teams are also on the ground in northern communities to microchip and vaccinate animals.
So that they're safe, so that if we move them to another humane society or a veterinary clinic, a boarding facility, anything like that, that they're well protected.
Protection extends beyond evacuation. Stacey Murphy is a registered vet tech with the Kitchener-Waterloo Humane Society. She says smoke inhalation from the wildfires is just as bad for pets as it is for humans.
If the air is not good for you to be breathing, it's not good for your animal either.
Urging pet owners to take precautions, especially during air quality warnings.
You know, if we're going outside with them, it's for short walks to come back inside pretty quickly, monitoring them for signs of respiratory distress and taking them to the vet if something seems out of sorts.
Hi, babies! In the meantime, while the smoky skies may have blown over in southern Ontario, a reminder of the raging wildfires lingers, knowing that many lives, including Ross and S'mores, have been forever changed. Alexandra Hullock, CTV News.
Back we go to Amanda now for a check on the current conditions this Tuesday evening. Amanda, a little bit of this and a little bit of that out there, it seems.
That's right, Marina. That's the perfect way to summarize the weather for today, for sure. We got to see quite the temperature range out there today, between 15 to 25 degrees for the highs, depending on where you were. We've got a low pressure system and a cold front moving through the region, which is going to cool things off as we head into the overnight hours. Seeing some single digit temperatures, 8 degrees in Timmins overnight, which is hard to believe for this time of year. And that's going to continue into tomorrow. But let's look at the here and now and how things are shaping up outside your doorstep right now. So we've got some light rain falling in Kapuskasing, in Cochrane and Timmins, as well cloudy skies in Moosonee, between 12 to 13 degrees. So temperatures are starting to cool off a little bit there, between 12 to 14 degrees in Wawa, Sault Ste. Marie and Chapleau. Rain falling in Wawa. Cloudy skies in Parry Sound, sitting at 21, between 15 to 18 degrees. A little bit of sunshine in Temiskaming Shores, and then we've got a little bit of sunshine, but more cloudy skies and some rain falling in Sudbury. Marina.
All right, thank you for that, Amanda. Next here on CTV News at 6, Canadian dairy farmers are reacting to Trump's new tariffs. How will they impact business? And we're learning more about where beluga whales from Marineland are headed. We're turning to one of our top stories now. The U.S. tariffs, of course, aimed at a wide range of industries and products, including dairy. CTV's Geneviève Beauchemin spoke with a dairy farmer to understand the impact this could have on Canadian milk and cheese.
Like 6 generations of his family before him, Angus McKinnon has produced milk just a stone's throw from the U.S. border. And he's been wondering when the American neighbors would target the industry.
We've been waiting for Donald Trump to come down on dairy for the last 2 years.
Under the current system, the tariffs will have little impact on producers themselves, though distributors might take a hit. But some producers have feared Canada's supply management system could be sacrificed to appease the U.S. Some critics in this country have said dairy should not be a sacred cow. The U.S. pointed to Canada's supply management system as a main irritant, justifying 50% tariffs, and put Canadian milk, lactose, and whey on the tariff hit list. Supply management sets quotas for Canadian dairy producers, fixes prices, but also limits dairy imports from the U.S. and other countries, imposing quotas and high tariffs.
Brings great economic stability. We have a guaranteed price for our milk.
In a statement, the Dairy Farmers of Canada said dairy trade is covered by CUSMA, and the U.S. has been successful in accessing the Canadian market under this agreement. The association said that between 2019 and 2025, exports of U.S. products to Canada rose from $423 million to $1.06 billion. And dairy farmers say they're holding Ottawa to its word that supply management is here to stay. Canada is home to over 9,000 dairy farms, nearly half of which are in Quebec.
Quebec was built on.
The state of Wisconsin alone produces more milk than Canada as a whole. But U.S. President Donald Trump has long said supply management is a highly protectionist barrier, treating American farmers unfairly.
You can see that he's positioning himself, because keep in mind, Middle America elected Donald Trump. Middle America is agriculture.
Milk producers will be watching closely over the next 30 days just what happens with the tariffs. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News, Quaticook, Quebec.
We're learning more about what appear to be lavish expenses that allow Ontario MPPs to live large. As CTV's John Woodward reports, records show the Constituency Association of Ontario's embattled Labour minister has also been a big spender.
Years ago, Northumberland Peterborough MPP David Piccini could be spotted at events at a local pub in Port Hope. After he became Labour Minister in late 2023, records show something changed. Hospitality costs borne by his constituency association swelled from $12,000 to almost $50,000, buoyed by $1,800 at the Four Seasons, $2,000 at the conservative Albany Club in Toronto, $237 at the Antonio Park, a luxury restaurant on the 51st floor of the Manulife Centre.
These folks, they're living large.
A lifestyle, says Liberal interim leader John Fraser, that happened as Piccini gained control over $2.5 billion in a government jobs fund.
See this gigantic increase in donations, which relates to the Skills Development Fund.
Piccini already facing an Integrity Commissioner investigation over whether he broke the law in giving out those grants, something he's always denied. The association's chief financial officer doubts Piccini was living large on donations from people trying to get grants.
I really doubt it. He's a pretty honest guy. I doubt if there's anything like that going on with David Piccini.
The PC's reeling this week after revelations former Tourism Minister Stan Cho's constituency association was spending thousands on trips and meals. Cho resigned after it emerged he'd spent more than $16,000 on hotels in Toronto, where he lives. More than a dozen nearby MPPs spent $100,000. The Premier says they'll repay it.
If you guys think for a second I'm happy about this, you're wrong. It's unacceptable.
The Premier said, I deserve a luxury private jet, so I'm buying one. So everybody else is just following suit.
The Constituency Association records are kept at this Elections Ontario office on paper, something one watchdog wants to change.
All of that should be required to be regular disclosure online in a searchable database. That's what the internet's for.
Making it less likely that expenses like these won't be discovered for years. John Woodward, CTV News.
At least 3 people are dead after a Russian-guided bomb attack on a city in southern Ukraine. 7 floors of a 9-story apartment building were engulfed in flames after the attack. Local officials say more than a dozen people were also injured. Russia denies targeting civilians, but regularly hits residential buildings and civilian infrastructure. 6 beluga whales from a shuttered Ontario tourist attraction are heading to a new home. The whales from Marina in Niagara Falls are being relocated to aquariums in Chicago and Texas. It's part of a deal with facilities in the U.S. and Spain to move the park's 30 belugas and 4 dolphins. Marina tried to move the animals to an aquarium in China last year, but the plan was blocked by the federal government. There's more news ahead, but first, Amanda Hicks is standing by with your full weather forecast and if we'll be trading the umbrella for sunblock. Amanda.
I'd recommend to keep both handy just for now, Marina. We are going to be seeing some rain depending on where you are, some sun depending on where you are too, as we've been talking about this whole show. It's a little bit of everything, but we are going to see some cooler temperatures move through the region, and that's courtesy of a cold front and a low pressure system that's moving in, and that's going to continue into tonight and into tomorrow. So you're going to see some below seasonal temperatures. As you can see, by the time Thursday rolls around, clear skies. It's looking nice for Thursday, sunshine across the board. But then by the time we get to the weekend, that changes a little bit, but hopefully the forecast changes over the next couple days. We'll see. Overnight though, a few showers. We got showers or drizzle in Timmins, 8 degrees, single-digit temperatures overnight there, 9 degrees in Temiskaming Shores with a risk of thunderstorms. Looking at Moosonee now, we've got 8 degrees, periods of rain, chance of showers or drizzle in Wawa. And then Gore Bay, we're sitting at 12 degrees with a chance of showers. So some rain expected overnight, but you know, it's nice to hear rain. It definitely helps for sleeping, that's for sure. 7-day forecast starting with Sudbury, Nickel Belt. So we've got a mix of sun and cloud for tomorrow, high of 19 degrees, 23 on Thursday. Beautiful day there with sunny skies, chance of showers on Friday, and a mix of sun and cloud to start the weekend, getting back up to normal for this time of year. For Sault Ste. Marie, Algoma, mainly sunny skies for tomorrow, high of 19, 23 degrees on Thursday, mix of sun and cloud. Nice to see that sunshine out there. Again, chance of showers on Friday, bumping up to 25 degrees, holding on to that temperature for Saturday as we see a chance of showers moving through the region, continuing as we start the week on Monday. For Timmins, Cochrane, Kapuskasing, chance of showers for tomorrow, high of 16, continuing on into Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, getting up to 22 degrees for Sunday. So pretty comfortable conditions out there for the weekend. For Temiskaming Shores, Kirkland Lake, chance of showers for tomorrow, high of 15, 10 degrees below the normal for this time of year. Chance of showers on Thursday and Friday. More cloud coverage on Saturday, continuing into Sunday, beginning the week with a high of 22. And finally, for North Bay, West Nipissing, chance of showers for tomorrow, getting up to 20 degrees, 23 on Thursday with a mix of sun and cloud. Chance of showers on Friday, sitting right at normal for this time of year, and then a mix of sun and cloud for Saturday, high of 26. So temperatures will dip down a little bit, but then they'll get back up there. And for today's weather pick of the day, look at that basket of blueberries. I advertised this last night, and now you get to see the photo. Colette Mann sent in this photo. She called it the perfect pick from Lake Wanapitei. Thank you so much, Colette, for sending that in. I'm very jealous of that basket. There's more news coming up. Stay with us.
Diabetes drugs like Ozempic have been associated with other health benefits like cardiovascular and liver health. Now, a new study suggests another positive link to reducing alcohol-related hospitalizations. CTV's Pauline Chan has more.
GLP-1 agonist drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy were first used in controlling diabetes, then for weight control.
We've seen how they can help with cravings related to food. And so the leading theory is that GLP-1s can affect the part of the brain that, control feeling full and feeling rewarded. And so kind of lends itself to thinking maybe that could work for alcohol and drugs.
They looked in different relevant populations. So one was a group of people with diabetes that is the primary group who these drugs are prescribed for. A second group was people with obesity who didn't necessarily have diabetes. And then the third study was interesting, was a study of people with alcohol use disorders.
U.S. researcher Emma Haller says the reduction in alcohol-related hospitalizations was significant for all three groups.
So in the diabetes and obesity medication comparisons, the risk was about 22 to 32% lower.
Toronto liver specialist Dr. Jordan Feld says the numbers were even more striking for those with alcohol use disorder.
In the alcohol group, they're actually comparing the GLP-1 agonists to treatment for alcohol use disorder. So other drugs that are used to try to reduce alcohol use in people with alcohol use disorders. And they actually found a much more significant effect, about a 2/3 reduction. So 65% reduction in admission for alcohol-related complications.
Haller says more study is needed, but this is not the first study to look at GLP-1 agonists in connection with addictions. Could these drugs someday be used in addiction treatment?
I definitely think that's a possibility. It's obviously premature. We wouldn't recommend at this point using GLP-1 specifically for that indication, but I think this study, along with some of the other published literature, really gives us a sense that maybe there's something here.
Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Canada's leading science-based conservation organization has found a unique way to find new invasive species in waterways without having to physically be out on the water. CTV's Luke Samard tells us more.
People who have been enjoying Lake Simcoe this summer may have heard an unusual buzzing sound as drones can be seen flying in the sky. It's part of a new program being put on by Ducks Unlimited Canada.
We began to integrate drones into the program because drones have good freedom of movement. You can cover a lot of area pretty quickly, and you just fly a drone with the camera pointing straight down and you can get great photos of the area you're trying to survey.
Well, in the air, the drones take hundreds of pictures, but until now, there has been no way to identify species in the water. Ducks Unlimited, along with partners, have developed a software program on a drone that is taught what to look for while scanning through pictures, identify invasive species, and provide GPS coordinates on the lake.
It cuts down on like hours and hours of field time, which saves us a bunch of money, which we can then use to actually like remove these invasive plants that are causing sort of a negative impact to the environment and to the human use of these systems.
One of the biggest issues are water soldiers, which can grow quickly and dominate a habitat.
Native wildlife have a real struggle using it, but for people, like Cook's Bay is a really popular area. There's lots of people who boat and stuff like that. You're just trying to boat through a big pile of weeds and it just inhibits recreational activity. It's sharp.
Not only a physical risk to people swimming, but an eyesore as well. And if you're looking to remove it yourself, it needs to be done properly.
It spreads by sort of fragments, like especially like root fragments. So you have to be pretty careful when you remove it. If it's a really large population, then you have to look at sort of more high impact management methods like herbicide application, which we generally try to avoid.
Adopting a pet just got a little easier for people in Sudbury. U-Ride has announced a partnership with Sudbury's SPCA. Throughout the summer, they're offering free rides up to $25 for people bringing their new pet home. Emma Bailey from the SPCA spoke with us about this new offering and why it's important.
As well as just open it up to a whole demographic of people that might not have thought to adopt if they're looking for coming in for one of our bigger dogs or even a cat. If they were worried about taking it on the bus or trying to find a ride home, this gives them that option to secure that safe ride home.
U-Ride says their goal is to help 100 pets get adopted this summer. Still ahead here on CTV News at 6. A celebration of culture, music, and community. Cree Fest kicks off in Timmins. We'll take you there.
Clothing provided by Laura, Melanie Lynn.
The final whistle has blown, and that means we're starting to find out what went on behind the scenes in Vancouver for the World Cup to keep games and watch parties running smoothly. CTV's Penny Daflos takes a look at policing and security.
Right through to the final game,
Soccer fans attending World Cup events around Vancouver.
Fan zone was fantastic. Better for the spot, it's better for the place.
Enjoyed their experience throughout the tournament.
We're going to drink the whole evening. It will be with tears or with joy.
Which gave Vancouver police new challenges that required special research.
Send small contingents of our key planning staff over to England, to Scotland, to France.
To see how modern soccer culture unfolds, complete with smoke bombs and elaborate costumes.
For the Canada March specifically, there was so much red and white smoke going off all at once. It was difficult to see down there. We strategically put pyrotechnic bins throughout the last mile area.
And some 800 drone flights monitoring the action from above, with 1,300 officers at the fan zones, official watch parties, and on general patrol for run-of-the-mill issues at a very exceptional time.
It's next level. I've never seen anything like it.
Because with the head of FIFA and the Prime Minister in the city, the stakes were already high.
I couldn't be prouder as a Canadian and on behalf of all Canadians.
But with the 2011 Stanley Cup riots still associated with Vancouver, police knew there'd be extra scrutiny.
Making sure we came out of this event without that black eye and managing whatever football hooliganism that us in Canada are not used to, that we had the right deployment to manage that.
And also to manage the level of excitement.
I've got FIFA fever and I've been enjoying all the games.
Without going overboard.
Very key was not to have it as a police state. That's not the vibe that we wanted to achieve here.
Vancouver police did reveal that as they worked with Canadian, Mexican, and U.S. law enforcement officials, they did encounter what they're calling threat-related scenarios, but say that there was nothing specific to our city. Penny Dufflaw, CTV News, Vancouver.
Splash and Go Adventure Parks in Sudbury, a Sudbury-owned inflatable water park, is finalizing a deal with the city of North Bay to bring the water obstacle course to Lake Nipissing. For a little over a week, Splash and Go has been teasing that North Bay will be its newest location to set up. The water park layout includes a floating obstacle course where kids can climb structures, go down slides, and try to balance on the inflatable. There's no official date for launch just yet, but the company says it is currently hiring 2 lifeguards, a site crew team member, and a customer service representative.
Very excited. So North Bay has always been a target on our radar. We've been working on launching in North Bay since we launched in Sudbury. It's been a little more challenging getting that in place. We are definitely always looking to expand and bring this to the more northern communities and even southern communities as well.
The city writing in a statement to CTV News today, Splash and Go Adventure Parks has been selected to supply and operate a new inflatable water park at Shabakisik Beach following the city's request for proposal process. The new attraction will provide another recreation option for residents and visitors to enjoy the waterfront this summer. Meanwhile, Tourism North Bay says the water park will elevate North Bay's vibrant tourism scene, seamlessly blending with existing activities, events, and festivals in the downtown and waterfront core. Again, no launch date just yet. For the first time, Cree Fest is being held in Timmins. Organizers say bringing the annual celebration to the city will make it easier for many Cree families to take part while giving the public a chance to experience Cree culture. CTV's Lydia Chubak reports.
Mushkegowuk Council Grand Chief Leo Friday says holding Cree Fest in Timmins gives many Cree people who live in the city an opportunity to reconnect with their culture.
This is the first time we do it in the Timmins, and the reason for that, we have a lot of our people living in Timmins, and they never got a chance to go to our communities because the flights are too expensive. So that's one of the reasons why we have it in Timmins, is to make aware of the people in Timmins that we are not forgetting about them.
Timmins Mayor Michelle Boileau says the festival also gives residents and visitors a chance to enjoy a wide range of activities.
If not to come visit your friends and family, there's a reason to come just in the programming and what goes on here. And I think that's something that's really exceptional.
Organizers say the festival features live Indigenous music, traditional drumming and dancing, vendors, traditional foods, daily elders' meals, and activities for youth and families. They also say Cree Fest helps support Indigenous artists, entrepreneurs, and tourism across Northern Ontario.
A big thing this year is the arts and crafts in the marketplace, non-Indigenous and Indigenous, and we kind of wanted that to be a big thing this year, along with the evening concerts, the cultural programming, We have a cooking tent for cooking wild geese, and we also have a youth program at Hollinger Park.
Wildlife photographer David Courtois is among the artists showcasing his work during the festival.
Trying to capture and show what I've been seeing out there and share it, not just from showing the wildlife, but the cultural aspect of it. Because it's rare to see these wolves. It's rare now to see them more and more. More and more people are shooting them on site.
Cree Fest continues through Thursday, including special guests like Adam Beach and musician Adrian Sutherland. Admission is free. Lydia Chubak, CTV News, Timmins.
Lovers of art, music, and the outdoors are making their way to the West Nipissing area, where the River and Sky Music and Camping Festival will once again be lighting up the forest with a variety of art installations along the Sturgeon River. July 22nd to the 26th. Organizers say the annual festival is a beloved tradition for friends and families from all over Ontario and beyond, and is now in its 18th year. For more information on the lineup or tickets, visit riverandsky.ca. A classic action film returns to theaters. David Daniel has tonight's Hollywood Report.
It's a state of mind. It's a place where you lose yourself and you find yourself.
Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze are back in Point Break. The classic surfing heist flick returns to theaters August 16th and 19th only, remastered for its 35th anniversary, with an intro from surfing legend Matt Archbold, who helped teach the cast to surf. More info at fathomentertainment.com.
We couldn't have been in better hands.
Louis Pullman is staying busy. The actor, whose upcoming projects include Avengers Doomsday and Spaceballs the New One, has joined the Apple TV series Guilty Creatures opposite Julia Garner. It's based on a true crime book with a juicy title, Guilty Creatures, Sex, God, and Murder in Tallahassee, Florida.
Changes in latitude, changes in attitude, nothing remains quite the same.
Parrot heads, take heart. The Coral Reefer Band is keeping Jimmy Buffett's legacy alive. Longtime collaborator Mac McAnally tells Billboard a posthumous album is on the way with, for the most part, things that have never been out. The Rock and Roll Hall of Famer died in 2023 at the age of 76. No title or release date yet for the album. Wasting away again in Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
In business headlines, toy and gaming giant Hasbro raised its full-year outlook after a solid second quarter. Hasbro's revenue was up roughly 16% in Q2 after seeing record demand for its Magic the Gathering franchise. The fantasy card game has become one of the company's biggest sellers, due in part to its release of new high-quality gaming sets and crossovers with Marvel, Final Fantasy, and Lord of the Rings. Magic the Gathering has topped $500 million and is expected to continue to grow. And here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar down 1 cent, ending the day at 70 cents US. West Texas Intermediate WTI is up $1.86. Western Canadian Select is down 176, and the TSX gained almost 410 points today, now sitting at 35,370. And a look at the current prices for some key commodities we also watch. Gold is up $72.64, closing the day at $40.80.58 US an ounce. Silver up $2.39, copper up 8 cents, and nickel up 3 cents, sending the day at $7.65 US a pound. Let's go back over to Amanda now for one last look at the weather and everything you need to know for Wednesday.
Well, Marina, to summarize tomorrow, I will say it's going to be brighter, cooler, and overall a whole lot less soggy. Let's take a look. So Sudbury, got a mix of sun and clouds sitting at 19 degrees there. Chance of showers in Timmins, mainly sunny skies in Sault Ste. Marie. Pretty comfortable conditions out there. North Bay, chance of showers clearing in Parry Sound. Chance of showers as well in Temiskaming Shores, between 15 to 20 degrees out there. So I would recommend that if you're heading out and about tomorrow morning, just to maybe bring a sweater. Might be a little bit cooler. Marina.
All right, will do. Thank you for that, Amanda. Now to a sweet update on a story we brought to you last week about two friends making beverages for a cause. 11-year-olds Mary and Abigail served up free refreshments at their booth in New Sudbury over the weekend while collecting donations for 3 charities: Pet Save, the HSN Foundation, and the Sudbury Regional Tree Fund. The girls say the fundraiser was a big success and that the mayor even made a surprise visit on top of an incredible turnout. After an uplifting day of community spirit and support, they raised over $1,000 for charity, and the girls say the experience has deepened their belief in their entrepreneurial vision as well as giving back to the community. Well done. And that is all the time we have here on CTV News at 6. As we say goodnight, though, we'll leave you with some bonus video from Cree Fest in Timmins as the Whitetail Cree singers and drummers sang a song for people impacted by the forest fires in Northern Ontario. Enjoy this, and thanks for watching.